Am I live? Is it recording? Is this thing on? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Fabulous. This is Angela, and I've got a reaction video for you. It's a reaction to a treatment I just had. So the treatment is called HALOTHERAPY. The channel is Be Fabulous You. I'm Angela. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and let's jump right into it. So we've actually heard of halotherapy before. I never used the term before, but there are two different types of halotherapy. There's wet halotherapy and dry halotherapy. Raise your hand if you've ever been told or have gargled with salt water. It's wet halotherapy. Raise your hand if it's some other things. If you've ever drank salt water. Oh, I did. I drank salt water when I did the master cleanse. Halotherapy. Bathing in salt water. Who's used Epsom salts in a bath? Halotherapy. Using salt water for nasal irrigation. Hey, LaKenya. Oh, wait a second. Lakiva. Miss Anderson. Hey. I think that this nasal irrigation thing is when you use the neti pot. I've never done that before, but a lot of people have. So this is, okay. So this is not a something that's totally outside of our experience, although I've never heard of dry halotherapy. I was not researching it. I'm not looking into it. My mom, I guess she went to a funeral a couple weeks ago, and one of my cousins mentioned that she was doing it, and then I don't know what happened, but now all of a sudden, 2 or 3 days ago, my mother was going. And so I'm like, well, what is it? Can I go? Because I'm always here for, I don't know. I figure one-shot halotherapy treatment is probably good for something, I guess. I read up on it. It sounded good. So let's talk about it. Halotherapy is an alternative treatment that involves breathing salty air. Now, that's specifically what I did, even though they say it could be wet or dry. Some claim that it can treat respiratory conditions such as asthma, chronic bronchitis, and allergies. Others suggest it can also ease smoking-related symptoms such as cough, shortness of breath, and wheezing. Is that wheezing? I don't know. Wheezing. Treat depression and anxiety. Cure some skin conditions such as psoriasis. So I did it for, they say it's good for your overall mood and it's good for your skin. And I just figure every once in a while it's good to be exposed to some different modalities of healthcare. The origins of halotherapy date back to the medieval era, but researchers only recently started studying its potential benefits. So it seems to be like a European type thing. When I went, look, I was planning to go and be naked because I thought it was going to be warm in there. I'm thinking it's going to be salt water. Salt. I'm thinking it's going to be like a steam bath. So I was cold. They say the temperature is set like around 68. That's what I just read here. So the dry method of halotherapy is usually done in a man-made salt cave. So I was like a cave person for a moment. That's free of humidity. The temperature is cool, set to 68 degrees or lower. Sessions usually last about 30 to 45 minutes. My session was 45 minutes. When one place that I researched, they charge $45 for 45 minutes. This place, I don't know how much they charge. I think they charge like $25 for 45 minutes. But with the Groupon, 3 of us went for $30. So it was very inexpensive. A device called a halo generator grinds salt into microscopic particles and releases them into the air of the room. Once inhaled, these salt particles are claimed to absorb irritants, including allergens and toxins from the respiratory system. And when I was reading up on it before I went, it said that sometimes you might get a tickling in your throat. When we first went in the room, nothing was happening, but there's some sort of machine, I guess that's the halo generator, that cuts on and off, and the woman who's spot it was, or who our hostess or whatever was, said that the machine, detects the salinity in the air and cuts on, adjusts accordingly. But when we first went in, nothing was going on. But when the machine went on, I noticed a little tickle in my throat. And I don't know if it was like suggestion or if there was really something going on. Um, Advocates say this process breaks up mucus and reduces inflammation in clear airways. I'm going to tell you in 1 second. And in clear airways, the salt particles are said to have a similar effect on your skin by absorbing bacteria and other impurities responsible for many skin conditions. Salt is also said to produce negative ions. This theoretically causes your body to release more serotonin, one of the chemicals behind the feelings of happiness. I like happiness. You like we like happiness. Many people use Himalayan salt lamps to generate the benefits of negative ions at home. There's no research. So they talk about the wet methods, gargling with salt water, drinking salt water, bathing in salt water, using salt water for nasal irrigation. Oh, flotation tanks filled with salt water. Um, so that's basically it. The people that I went with were specifically trying to deal with some respiratory issues, but I was just, and apparently my cousin who has gone and done it has done it on repeated occasions. I think the recommendation, they didn't say it in that little article, but I think it's like 6 or 12 treatments or something like that. I don't know. It was very passive, like I didn't like if you go into a steam room or a sauna, it's like you feel like, oh, like now I have to remember to like I'm gonna do a special kind of bath to try to release any toxins. But usually if I come out of a steam room or a sauna, I'm like, oh, I gotta bathe, I gotta get it off. But we went and ate and whatever, went to there was an international market out there. So apparently they don't have these dry halo therapy places everywhere. I don't know. But we are in Michigan. And so the place that we went to was in Troy, Michigan. And I made it home safely. I made it there and home safely. But I must admit that I was like, they don't have one in Detroit. I'm not particularly feeling like all that comfortable and excited about going out into the suburbs. So it was in a place in, I think it was Troy, Michigan. I think it was Troy, Michigan. Um, and it's not a black owned business. I'm not necessarily gonna say the name of it. Oh, you're in Clinton Township, Michigan. Okay, so it was called Salinair Salt Bath something. And the reason my mother chose that one is because my cousin went. So that kind of gave me a sense of, like, I don't know if reassurance is the word, but like, like, okay, well, maybe they not gonna beat me. I know, I shouldn't say I know they not gonna beat me because I don't know. But yeah. And so the woman was European. She had an accent. I couldn't tell you where, but there was like a crepe place right down the street, and I think they were like right down in the strip mall, and I think they were connected. So but I don't think she had a French accent, but I'm not sure. But she seemed personable enough, friendly enough. When I first came in, I'm like, hi. And she was kind of like, I didn't get any like instant beat. But then when my mother came in and she was like, oh, you're Ivy, and she was interacting with her, it was kind of like I was giving her the side. I like, hold on. But it was, it might just take her a minute. Because sometimes people, when I'm like, hi, how you doing? They be like, so maybe that just like was too much for her to process. A lot of people aren't really friendly, so I know people sometimes get stressed by that. But she seemed friendly enough. The space seemed, clean enough. It didn't seem as glamorous as I thought it was going to be. Not that I thought it was going to be glamorous, but she had some kind of like lights. Like the room, there was like kind of meditation-y type music playing, and the lights were basically off, but there were like a couple like salt lamps in the room. The floor was covered in salt. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I wonder if they just went to the like hardware store and got a whole bunch of salt and threw it on the floor, or is this like certified official, salt? I don't know. But then there were like these little like pinpoints of light that were like moving around, like blue and purple. And then it seemed like it was like fish or something on the wall. I was not really necessarily feeling the decor. They want you. So this place, they had little footies for you to put on, like not footies, but like shoe covers. Like if you're on a construction site, those blue shoe covers. And I had read from another site in our region that seemed to be a little more upscale that, you're supposed to wear white socks, 2 pairs of white socks. So I'm actually curious to see, I don't know if I'll go and do it again. not because it was a bad experience, but like, I don't know. I just would keep my money for myself. I don't know. I will see. Like maybe tomorrow I'll wake up and be like, yes, Halo therapy. I don't know. But I don't, but I would be curious to see the other place and like sort of how it's presented. It was sort of like if you go to a like a massage therapy type spa, like there's a reception area, and then it seems to be like 3 or 4 different treatment rooms. So there were 3 of us in our party, and we were in a treatment room, and then there were 2 other people who had a 5 o'clock appointment, and they were in a whole nother treatment room, which I actually appreciated because I felt like I didn't know them people, and they probably felt the same way. You know what I mean? And I was kind of wondering, like when I was going, and I was thinking it was going to be like a moist environment. I'm like, whose air am I going to be breathing? You know, and I was like, okay, Angela, you've been to a public sauna and steam room, so it's okay. But my first reaction was kind of like, I don't know. What if people come in and they have respiratory issues, and then I'm breathing their air, and I might catch, the Ebola or whatever. I don't know. So I was concerned about that. But that was like a non-issue. You could like rent the whole room, which seats 6 people comfortable, like with plenty of space for like $60. So it's very inexpensive at that place. I'm curious to know why and how my cousin got to it. Um, Ivy, this is something coming up in the future, I guess, is also, I guess, in her research of halotherapy, she's also excited about when we go to Costa Rica, getting buried in black sand. I'm a water girl. I like to get in a mineral bath. I like, I'm like the whole dry thing is kind of like, I'm just kind of like, okay, is anything happening? Now, what I did do is I meditated. I have a meditation practice. So I basically, sat in meditation. But I mean, I feel like I'm getting more of a reaction now. I'm like getting a little warm sitting here than I got there. Like other than, oh, I felt cool when I came in. And they did have like little, like I'm gonna call them blankets, but they were more like binkies, like children's blankets, like real thin and kind of on the smaller side. But in the chairs that we like, a couple of the chairs look like high-end lawn chairs, but then they also had like leather type recliners, and that's what I was sitting on. So yeah, that's it. That was my experience with halotherapy. Out in the suburbs of Detroit. Now, we were supposed to be 45 minutes to get there. It took us like we left around 5 minutes after 4, and we got there about 5 or 10 minutes after 5. And it was like at 5 minutes of 5, we called and we're like, this is where we are. And she was like, oh, you're a minute away. And then, it still took us 10 minutes to get there because of traffic, so it's kind of intense. I had no idea there was so much activity. I don't go out into the suburbs. So I guess I'm always just sort of like, amazed at all of the things that are going on. And then when we left, we went to a Indian vegetarian street food place. Like that's like niche, niche, niche. And it was a big place. There was a steady flow of people coming in and out. I don't remember the name of it. But who knew there was like a big market? I guess there's a whole Indian community out there I don't know anything about. The international market, I had fun. It was good. I'm a little like I'm PMSy, so or messy. I guess I'm not PM. I'm like messy. But the I had a samosa. Samosa. Yeah, I had a samosa, but it was overwhelming because I'm like, okay, I've been to India, so I've had street food. I'm from, and so I was like, well, I wonder what they're going to be serving. And in my head, I started thinking about what they would have, and I was expecting a very small menu. It was a huge menu. It was a huge place. It was just a lot going on, and it was a lot to process. And so I ended up getting something just because I was curious. The samosa was good. It tasted like, it had the proper herbs and spices, and it tasted like, it tasted authentic, and there were a lot of people who looked Indian in there to me. And it's been years since I was in India, but I was kind of like, I buy it. I buy the concept. They had like gluten free on the menu. It was a big market, so that was really interesting. Um, and they seem friendly enough too. And the I went to I don't remember the name of the international market, but I always like a gourmet. I'm a food person, so I always like, gourmet, interesting, stuff that I don't find at Aldi. When when we went to check out, and she's like, "Would you like paper or plastic?" And I turned around, and my mother had her cloth bag out, and I'm like, "Oh, I don't have any cloth bags," so I got a bag from her. And so I'm going to fill it up because I'm used to shopping at Aldi. And the woman reached for the bag, and I'm like, "Huh?" And she's, took it and filled it up. I'm like, "Oh." My mother says you paid for the service. I'm like, "Yeah." So, that was nice. And then also, I guess they do sell alcohol and wine there. So my olive oil and my sparkling water and my raw honey and my organic raspberry preserves all were in glass. And so they put those in, like, the wine case for four. So I was like, okay. I don't know why I was tickled by that, but I was tickled. Um, so again, that's my experience with halotherapy. I did sort of kind of feel the mucus sort of kind of breaking up, but I talked to you earlier and I said I didn't really get a cold this year, so I don't think I have that much mucus in my system. When I went out the other night after we went to the movie, we went and got something to eat, and I ordered a tomato basil soup. And when it came, I'm like, "Oh, this is cream based." I don't know what I was thinking, because usually they are. And it was like I just couldn't seem to make myself eat it because I don't do a lot of dairy, and it's like I just felt like I'm eating a bowl of milk, and that's gonna be intense. So um, I don't think I have a whole bunch of hey, peace, conscious of genocide. Hey, you got a new avatar. So I don't think I have a lot of mucus in my system, but I could kind of feel some breakup. So I need to aggressively go and drink some extra water today because I didn't really have my minimum. So, and they had little bottles of water there at the halotherapy place. They were in plastic containers, like 8-ounce plastic bottles. Y'all know I'm not a fan of plastic. I think that a place like that, they should get big 5-gallon jars of water, and that's how they should present things to people. I don't think they should be in a health place. I don't think they should be serving you things in plastic. And they also appear to have tea, although she didn't offer us any of it. I think we could have helped ourselves to it. And in one of the things I was reading, it said that tea with honey is a good thing to drink after the halotherapy. So that's it. I'm no longer a halotherapy virgin. I've had the experience, and I've shared everything, I think everything there was to tell you about it. So I guess it may be something to research and look into if you have issues with like I have a cousin who's she's allergic. Like she's like, basically, I'm allergic to all of the pollens and all of the plants, and it's like a difficult concept for me to get because I'm like, that's outside. What you mean? She's like, yeah, if when I come inside, everything from outside I just stay sick. So I'm thinking that would be something that would be good for her. And I'm also thinking it might be like a good little yearly ritual at the end of the winter season when you live in these types of climates to kind of try to break the stuff up and move it on. Yeah. Yeah, so that's what I got. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for joining in the chat. Has anybody? Yeah, I have really bad allergies. Okay, I was gonna say, has anybody ever done halotherapy before, or heard, anybody familiar with it? Let me know if you have any, experience. I was looking when I was preparing my title, it's like reaction. And I'm like, I don't mean I had a reaction. Like I had a reaction, I died, but I just mean, here's my reaction to it. But I'm curious to see what people's reactions are. I guess my cousin has gone repeatedly, so she must feel good about it. And then I also like the idea of thinking about it in the context of gargling with salt water and taking saltwater baths, and just kind of using salt to support our system in the way, salt and water in the ways that it can. So yay, today is the best day ever, and you are the greatest. Thank you for you're gonna try it out. Oh, you got to let me know what you think. And if you I'll tell you, I was gonna say I'll tell you the name of the place. In case I don't know, where is Clinton Township? I hear it. I'm like, oh, that's around here, but where, I don't know. Salt Spa, Troy, Michigan. Yes, in Troy. It's called Salinair Salt Room Spa, and they say Rochester Hills, Michigan, 131 West Auburn Road. SALINAIR, Salinair. So when we were coming in, I'm like asking my mother, "Did you tell her that someone referred us?" Because in my business, I always like to know when people refer, because then you start to get a sense of how your business flows. And she's like, "Nobody asked me." So we didn't tell her that anybody referred her. So you don't have to say Angela referred me or anything like that. I wonder if she like, where are all of these brown people coming from? Or if it's normal. I don't know. But yeah, let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Especially if you go to that place or if you go to the fancier place. I don't know what the fancier place was, but Ivy's. My mother says that they're not in every state. So she's like, maybe because Michigan and our association with salt, that's why we have it. I don't know. But that's it. Maybe I'll see y'all on some chats tonight. I got work I gotta do. I can't be on chats with you people all the time. But I just want to share my experience because it was interesting. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and have a wonderful, fabulous until I see you again next. Peace.